G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Friday, the 22nd of February 2019, and the time here is 10:05 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, I'm back, finally. Sorry, I get this camera right. I've had lots of dramas, family dramas, etc. here. As regards to children, my eldest boy, 30 years old, decided to have a meltdown and has basically been here for a couple of months trying to get his shit together. Then I had another son who decided he wanted to go to Perth and went over there for holiday and didn't want to come back, so that was fun, and he's academically brilliant, so we had to drag him all the way back here. Look, it's just been one thing after another. I've been flat out here at home with my renovations, and look, at the end of the day I just decided, look, family's too important, and what I was doing at the time was too important, so I just decided to knock everything on their head, take a break, and have a, sit back and have a look at things, which has been quite interesting, very interesting. It's interesting to note the whole Q Trump scenario. And look, I don't listen to anyone else on it as regards to it except for Stroppy me. Maybe I'm not Aussie biased there, but he just says it very simply what needs to be said, which is, I haven't got time to read it. I would like someone else to actually take the time to read it, and that's what he does. And he gives a good what's the name of it actually, in my opinion. He tries to just tell you what it is. He doesn't try to tell you a half an hour of bullshit. But look, talking about the whole Q thing. Coffee, sorry. Iced coffee. Let's get something straight here. If any of you, and I mean any of you, ever thought that you were going to destroy, or we were going to overturn, or they were going to overturn, or somebody was going to overturn everything that's been going on for the last 100 years, you are literally dreaming, right? You literally have a cornucopia of shit that's sitting in the bottom of a cesspool, and you're standing on the outside, or we're all standing on the outside with no gumboots and protective clothing. Use that as a great analogy if you want. And we're all standing there trying to decide if we're actually going to jump in without any protective gear on. So, look, this is going to go on for a long time. And even when all that's said and done, you're not going to see people arrested for the devious shit that is going on. It'll be tax avoidance and all that sort of crap. Maybe a bit of spying here or there, or just trivial shit. They're never going to be arrested for. You're never going to see Hillary Clinton arrested for child pornography or anything like that. That would be too much of a stretch. And sadly, you know why? Is because just look outside your window. There's a whole population of people that have no idea about any of this shit, and they would instantly turn around and say, "Oh, the war machine on the other side, by the way," and will turn them around easily, very easily, and say, "Oh, this is all manufactured bullshit," and they believe it. They actually believe this shit. So, we've got the same problem here in Australia. And look, I really need to say this. If you're an Australian, you need to understand this. Whatever's going on in America has a direct impact on your friggin' life today, and will so for the next few years. If they go to war, we go to war. If they're fighting corruption, we've got to be fighting corruption here. And have you noticed lately that how many things are coming out about corrupt people here in Australia? And the whole Alexander Downer thing? If you haven't figured out, Alexander Downer is the linchpin between the baddies. If you haven't figured that out. Like he is the number one bloke there. So, and they have spirited him away to the UK. He lives in this massive mansion there now. He doesn't even look like ever coming back here. Now, you need to pay attention to what's being leaked into the papers at the moment. And it's been quite interesting to sit back and have a look at this stuff, because you're starting to realise that these guys, or somebody, is actually starting to leak stuff to the press. I'm not sure if you saw the Joe Hockey thing yesterday in the paper. Like, just so you know, Joe Hockey must be the biggest pocket dipper in Australian politics ever. And I mean the Australian taxpayer's pocket. You Americans might not know who he is, but he's actually the ambassador in Washington at this very moment, Australian ambassador. And he is one hell of a rip-off artist. He's the sort of bloke who, he's a multi-millionaire anyway. His wife bought several houses in Canberra and he was living in them and renting them off the Australian taxpayer. That's the sort of bullshit that's going on that we need to stop, by the way. And yesterday it came out that he gave his best mate a huge, whopping, great big contract, and he's also a shareholder of this submarine company. And, you know, these guys are... And you know what? I was thinking about it just before, and I was thinking the real issue is that they know we're not going to do anything about it. Nothing's ever going to happen. They even know that it'll come out in the papers and no one will ever do anything about it. Because the Australian public, or the public, just don't give a shit. Because there's not enough of us that have turned around at the moment and gone, hang on a minute, that's my fucking money. You're spending my money, pal. And, you know, you can't go giving contracts to your best mate. So, as I said, sitting back for a couple of months and not doing anything has been good, because I've actually been able to concentrate on what's really going on. And there is a war, folks. There is a massive war out there at the moment. And I mean a big war, not a spiritual war. It's kind of a spiritual war, I guess. Right, let's talk about this militia. I want to talk about Proton Mail first. Okay, I've sorted out Proton Mail. Now, people who have IT experience more than me might know, but apparently, and I still haven't got a correct answer from Proton Mail as yet, but I'm starting to realise that there is no secure email chains. What was happening was I'd get a desktop notification down the right hand side from Google saying, oh, you have 6 unread Proton Mails. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. How the fuck did Google know that when I never gave them my information? So either Proton Mail gave it to them, or Google has access to my Proton Mail account. Because there's no other way that they would know. They're two separate identities. So unless some of you IT guru people can tell me exactly how Google knew that I was getting 6 or 5 or 4 or whatever new emails. So either Proton Mail gave my information to Google, or Google has access to my Proton information, which tells me that there is no secure emails. So, having said that, let's talk about the militia. I will get back onto the emails, because I think I've just got to the fact that there is nothing secure. So, why worry? Now, let's talk about this militia. Coffee, hang on. At no stage have I said to any of you, we're going to overthrow the Australian government or any other government, or go romping around taking over towns or anything like that. Get that straight. That's not what I said. I said, we are doing it. If you want to do it, it will be because of the fact that the Chinese are coming. Think about that. That's what I said. While everyone else is actually going the opposite way, and this includes the politicians and, you know, who will be arse licking the Chinese asses all the way from the top of the end of this country down to the bottom. We're going to be going the opposite way, and we will have militia training, etc., so that when this does happen, we actually know what's going on and where we're going to be, etc., etc. That's why I'm doing it. Now, I got an interesting email from a woman who said in Commonwealth countries, which is i.e. the UK type of countries, English derivatives, it is illegal to form militias. Interesting. So, what I'm saying is, it would be in our best interest to form a militia at your local area. I'm not running it. I can't physically possibly run every militia outfit in Australia. That's just dumb. And you know, if you guys thought I was going to do that, then I'd probably say you guys are probably just as silly as anybody who thought that anyway. It's not going to happen. So what you guys need to do is I'll get you in touch with each other, you know, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, blah, blah, blah. And you guys will have to sort it out yourselves from there. Now, here's what I do know. You will need equipment. How you get that is up to you. You will need ham radios. Radios. Definitely. Right? Now, obviously I'll put you in touch with everyone. We can all sort that out together and we'll try and get this going as soon as possible, okay? As I said, I'm sorry about dropping out for a couple of months, but family shit got involved. So I will be back onto it. Right. Preparations. Or preparing for what's coming. I've taken some of the time as well. What I've been doing this is actually getting ground composted, more chickens, going through my stock, getting some more items here and there, etc., etc. Concentrate on yourself first. So look at yourself, top to bottom, hat, you know, clothes, good boots, etc., etc. Kit yourself out first. Okay? It's important. Very important. Because shit ain't happening if you ain't right. So if you're lagging behind everyone else, then how the fucking hell do you expect you to lead people? And can I just say, just someone who's dressed correctly, has a knapsack or a backpack, and walks into a room and goes, "We're off," that person then becomes the prime leader, because everyone else is sitting there going, "What the fuck?" Oh, and by the way, there's your 6 backpacks with everything in them. Let's go. I don't want to cut, make it too long about that. That's exactly what you need to do. You need to concentrate on yourself. And especially with this militia stuff. I'll leave it up to you guys, whoever wants to lead, obviously it's going to be someone who's had military experience. You can't learn to be a martial artist from someone who's a boxer. You can sort of, but it ain't going to work. You only get to a certain point. Obviously using your fist is a good part. Right, that's one other thing I wanted to say to you. One of the reasons I've had a bit of a lull is because I have been training, and I'm getting 55 this year, and I pulled the bloody bone off my scapula. And look, I've had anyone who's done gym and all that sort of stuff, and knee injuries and blah blah blah, rugby, etc. Yeah, look, I've had the old shoulder injury. I had to get the steroid injections, but man, let me tell you, go and pull the muscle off your bone in your scapula. Christ, it is excruciating. Like, I haven't trained now for nearly 8 weeks, so it's kind of been the same time that I started developing the problem before Christmas, and I didn't even realise it was a problem. I ended up with this big knot in my back, and I'm thinking, what the hell's this? Well, obviously it was protection system in my body trying to protect me, and I just kept training, and all of a sudden I got really bad. So yeah, that's another reason I've just kind of been taking it easy. No gym, can't do anything really. Even trying to do bicep curls just bloody kills me. So yeah, that's been kind of fun. It might be time for yoga. Not. Right, let's leave it there. I will be back tomorrow, I swear, to do the weekly news wrap up, which is going to be quite interesting. I'm going to do a financial bit on it because if you guys, I hope you have all been watching the financials. Okay, now, before I do the prayers, people have said, how can you say that you're not religious if you're doing the prayers, you do the prayers and you do the Lord's Prayer? Well, I gave that a lot of thought, and what I've come up with is, yeah, why am I doing it? I'm not religious at all. I haven't got a religious bone in my body. But I have a strong sense of self in the universe and God. And here's what I came to, folks. Here's what I realised. Someone in my brain said to me a while ago, you need to say this stuff. And I'm a very intuitive person, or I hope I am. So I thought to myself, okay, fair enough. Why? I'm not religious, so why would I say it? And here's where I've gotten to with this, okay? Tell me where, apart from when I do it, where you hear this stuff anymore. Where do you hear God's word anymore? Look, I don't even know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's where I've gotten to with this. I'm saying it because it's important, because we don't hear it anymore. And that's why we're doing this, remember? We don't hear this shit anymore. We don't hear about the corruption. We don't hear about the pedophiles. We don't hear about the money laundering. We don't hear about the corruption. And we don't hear about God anymore. And that's the big takeaway. We don't hear about God anymore. So if you would allow me to say these, I'd appreciate it, because I'll continue to say them. I don't necessarily say them as a religious thing, as I said. So, having said that, let's say them. Okay. And this is quite interesting. As I said, I bring these up as I do them. The commandments. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not murder. You shall not steal. You shall not covet. And whatever other command there may be are summed up in this one command. Love your neighbour as yourself. Love does no harm to a neighbour. Therefore, love is the fulfilment of the law. Very powerful. And as always, folks, we'll finish with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. All right, folks, I'll leave it there until tomorrow. God bless. Prep out.